build and deploy and automate things for you at the same time. So you can build like an army of people. There was a video going viral of like 50 screens at once being used using this process. And on top of that, you might be wondering, okay, why and how is this different to everything else? Well, number one, it can fully control web browsers. It can create downloadable files in the chat. It can deploy websites from single prompts. It can perform deep research faster than competitors. It can browse the web for you, and it can host directly to subdomains like you can see right here. So this is the tool that we ask it to create in one single prompt. If you go to the dashboard inside this SaaS tool that we created, I mean, how much money would it take you to create something like this? Or how much time or effort or energy would it take you? Or how long would it take you to find someone who can actually create something like this in the space of minutes? A lot, right? Whereas this is just deployed and ready to go, and we've got a full-blown SaaS software plus a front end plus the actual homepage for the website ready to go, right? That's how powerful this is. So finally got access to a Manus AI with an invitation code, and you can see I've got access directly in the dashboard right here. I know like literally hundreds of people reached out to me asking like how to get access, and you can see we have access right here. I've actually run it through a few different tests today already, and it is looking absolutely awesome. Let me show you an example of this. So here's a website we actually created and deployed directly in the chat. And I just gave it one single prompt, and this AI agent just went off and created the whole website about me. It even did the research. It's created the about me pages. The design is better than, things I've seen created with Claude and things I've seen with, for example, like Bolt.new as well. And also, we'll be comparing it side by side versus DeepSeek as well. But it is unbelievable from what I've seen. So, for example, if we click on the about me page here, it's created like a really nice website, and literally all we did inside the chat here was just say research Julian Goldie, then build and deploy the best possible website you can about him. And you can see I'll run you through like the whole chat and how it worked step by step down here. But yeah, and it literally created this whole website. Like this is hosted on a subdomain, manus.space, and it's created the home page, the about page. Let's check if the services work as well. Yeah, so it's created the services, and this is all custom tailored to me, right? So it's all personalized to me and what our agency sells, etc. Viresh says, is it free? So far, I've not paid a single penny for this, so it has been completely free. I also have a SOP inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Let me show you how to get access. So if you go inside the classroom here and then go to the SOP section, you'll see my instructions for setting up Open Manus as well. But this is using the live version of Manus. But if you want the free open source version of Open Manus, which is totally separate, then you can set that up using the instructions inside here in the SOP step by step. So you can see exactly how this runs step by step. Let me zoom in for you so it's a bit easier. But basically, step by step, we just say build a website, and then it will just go off. And it's like, right, okay, here's what we're going to do step by step. So it's like, right, I'll help you research Julian Goldie and build a comprehensive website about him. I'll start by gathering information about Julian Goldie, then design and develop a website based on that research and finally deploy it. Let me get started straight away. So it connects to the data source. So it actually goes to LinkedIn, which is pretty wild. So it just went straight to LinkedIn, search people on LinkedIn, search for Julian Goldie, and then you can see what it's done right here. So it can actually run like terminal requests as well. It can host websites. It can actually browse directly inside the chat here as well. So if we go inside the browsing section, it's actually gone to juliangoldie.com and scrolled through the website. And then if we click the forward arrow lines here, you can see what it's interacting with step by step. So it's actually gone to Julian Goldie and also to goldstarlinks.com, which is absolutely wild. And then what it's done is it's basically looked through the information and it's collected the personal information about us, right? So it's like, right, his name's Julian Goldie. He's from Manchester, England. Here's his profession. Here's the company, some professional background information about him. Here's his expertise. And here's the links to his main funnel. So even like calculated how many LinkedIn followers we have, how many YouTube subscribers we have. It actually managed to scrape my my Instagram bio as well. So you can see here it says Instagram bio. And step by step, it just found all this information about me, right? But that's not even the impressive part. Like that's kind of deep research, but it goes way deeper than that. So if we keep scrolling through, it's creating some terminal commands, creating like the page.tsx for the website. Then it actually deploys it. So it's deployed a website right here using the terminal commands. And then it's created the style CSS, the main.js, downloaded the images, added more images, index.html, etc. Right? And then just created this whole website right here. And if we scroll down directly in the chat, we can see that it just created this website right here. It's like, right, great news. I've successfully redesigned and redeployed the Julian Goldie website with a more beautiful and modern design. The website is now live out here, right? I will be 100% honest. At one point, when it first did the website, it said, no, it created a website and deployed it, but nothing was showing up, right? But then I just said, can you make the design more beautiful, more modern? And just said nothing is showing up when I open it. I was like, right, I apologize about that. We're going to execute the commands, create the files, and then host it, right? And the website that we got back is really, really nice. As you can see, like, I could just go live with that website. It's good to go, you know? It's even got like a contact us page where people can like enter the name, email, website, all looks super modern. Plus this is all customized and there's no hallucinations here. Like this is perfect. This is absolutely ready to go. It's even got links to our social media profiles. I didn't ask it to add that, but you can see here it has found and created social media icons with links directly to our profiles, right? Along with our main website, location, email address. Absolutely awesome. So the thing to note here, right, is that this is totally different to something like DeepSeek. DeepSeek, for example, it can do basic stuff, but quite often if you use, for example, the deep search method, if we use exactly the same prompt inside DeepSeek, let me refresh the page for you there. We're going to plug this in and we're going to say, okay, research Julian Goldie, then build and deploy the best possible website you can about him. And again, this was one click, right? Literally all we did was just give it one click and say, right, go off, do that, work your magic, etc. And it did it, right? It actually deployed the website. This is going to go off and create something, but we'll see what it does in a minute. We can also try the same thing on ChatGPT and see how it compares. Bear in mind, like ChatGPT is it's $1 billion company at this point, right? And one of the leaders in the world. But it's probably not going to be able to deploy the website. It can do the research fairly quickly, but we'll see what we get back in a second. Yeah, so look at that, right? We say research Julian Goldie, build and deploy the best possible website about him. Bear in mind, this is the leading AI company in the world, right? Biggest AI company in the world, billions of dollars in revenue generated. I think they're trying to get to like something like $17 billion this year. And also they were talking about launching these $20,000 agents. But if you compare this to Manus, which seems to be free so far, I haven't seen any pricing plans. I don't know whether they're going to charge later. But if you compare this to Manus, Manus just goes off and does whatever you want it, right? It's basically, when you think of that scary AI agent that can replace humans, Manus is it. Whereas if you compare that to ChatGPT, ChatGPT is still like, it's just not going to go off and do stuff, right? It hasn't deployed the website, hasn't even designed the website, hasn't coded it. It did do the research, but that was it. It literally stopped there. If we compare it to DeepSeek, DeepSeek has done something very basic here. So number one, the search service actually failed completely. So it failed at the first task, so it couldn't do the research. And then also, if we have a look here, it's not deployed the website, and it's not even created any HTML code when we've asked it to, right? So if you compare DeepSeek versus Manus, which actually creates a website, codes it, researches the web, works perfectly first time, and all we have to do is give it one single prompt, the difference is absolutely huge, right? That's the output from Manus. That's the output from DeepSeek. Like, I can't do anything with that. And also, you see here how it says featured projects, and then there's no information here. That doesn't help. If we have a look at ChatGPT, it's not coded the website. Like, all these other AI tools that seem like the best in the world now seem absolutely basic, right? Like, that this is not human intelligence level at all. Whereas you look at Manus and you're like, this is better than a human. Like, this is AGI level stuff. So it's pretty wild right here. Let's see what we got in the comments so far. So Viresh says, tell us an effective way to use Manus for all software development techs. I'm not a software development tech, but here's the way that I would do it, right? So if I wanted to use Manus for software building, let's say, for example, I'm like, right, okay, I'm an SEO. I want to create the best SEO tool I can. I'm going to say, okay, create and deploy best and most useful tool you can for my SEO agency, Goldie Agency. All right. This is, maybe we put, this is for lead generation, something like that. And then what this can do is just go off and start building that out, right? So it's like, right, I'll help you create and deploy a useful SEO lead generation tool for Goldie Agency. I'll start working on this right away and keep you updated on my progress, right? Probably take about 15 minutes to go off and do that, but we can come back to it later. Let's see what other stuff we got. Virev says, build different kind of AI agents with easy explanation and deploy on free platforms. So we've already done that, right? So for example, if we pull this up, we've done that with the website deployment here. This is an AI agent that's gone off and done its magic. The same for this. So what I actually said to Manus was create a 30-day trip for Lower Manhattan in June, right? That's something that an actual AI agent could go off and do. It's something that, for example, you would pay a research assistant or a personal assistant top dollar to do something like this, right? And it's like, right, I'm just going to help you go off and do it. And then you can see it's actually created all these files directly inside here, right? Now, if you ask, for example, ChatGPT to do the same thing, it's not going to be able to create the actual files that are downloadable. So if we open this up, we can see all the attractions in Lower Manhattan specifically that we could go for. And I actually said, like, do it for June, right? And you can see in this list here, if we pull this up, let me find June inside here. So I actually found like some events for June 2025. So for example, like the Governor's Ball Music Festival, dates June 6th to 8th, 2025. So like it's really intelligent stuff. Plus the content itself is not overwhelming. And additionally, it's also giving us some tips for the 30-day stay. It's perfectly formatted. It's all specific for Lower Manhattan, not just for New York. And yeah, it was top level. And that was just one part of it. It also created a comprehensive 30-day trip plan, like you can see, with accommodation options. So it recommended specific areas of Lower Manhattan. It also gave us hotels. So it gave us a hotel breakdown of like, okay, luxury options, mid-range options, and budget-friendly options. Along with that, it gave us some extended stay options. So the Empire Hotel, for example, which comes with 30% off for stays of longer than 7 nights. And it also gave us like some recommendations on how much you're going to spend, etc. Like this is by far the most useful and actionable report I've ever seen from an AI agent. And it's super intelligent stuff. It's even, for example, told us like, okay, these are the toiletries you need to take. These are your packing checklist, cost saving tips, budget ranges, etc. Like really awesome stuff. Kyle says, I want into this program so bad. So the invitation codes are pretty limited right now. But one thing I'd recommend is you go to the AI Profit Boardroom and you check out Open Manus, right? I have the instructions on how to set up the open source version of Manus, which is Open Manus. It's available on GitHub. And I also have a video tutorial that runs you through exactly how to set it up. So if you want to set it up for free using this process, then there's a free SOP on exactly how to set up Manus right there. What else we got? Yeah, Kyle says, this is the most powerful thing I've ever seen. I would agree with you there. I think it's absolutely wild how good it is. It's unbelievable how actionable and practical it is. And yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, for example, here, we can just say, go off and do this. And it actually does it. Like what other AI tool on the planet do you know of that can do that, right? Which tool on the planet do you know that can, number one, go off and code stuff. Number 2, deploy it. Number 3, connect live to the web. Number 4, create files. And number 5, give you something that's actually personalized to you and actually is useful, right? I mean, even something like bolt.new that you normally pay like, top dollar for, if you do the same thing. So if we go to bolt.new here, which is another paid AI tool, right? And we'll say create and deploy the best and most useful tool. And we're not going to do that one actually. We're going to do the example that actually worked. So this one, research student and Goldie, blah, blah, blah. And we'll compare the outputs side by side, right? So this is another sort of AI coding agent that can do similar things and code similar things, but the output I can almost guarantee is not going to be as good, but we can compare them side by side. So we'll come back to that in a minute once bold.new has finished coding. And Manus gives response with pictures. Absolutely. So here's the other thing about Manus is like, it actually has this ability to browse the web directly, right? So for example, if we go onto the browsing section here. So it's browsingjuliangoldie.com, and you can see how it's actually jumped through step by step on the website. So if we pull this up, pull up the browsing, there's no other AI agent that I know of apart from Claude that can browse a web directly like this, scroll through actual websites, and then give you the preview, right? So you can see, for example, here, it's using its vision and its computer use power to scroll through the web, look through, for example, like LinkedIn profiles like this, and then gather the information we need to complete the task. What else we got here? So Open Manus looks good, and it can run local, but not the same abilities as this version of Manus. So you should check out the video tutorial inside the AI Profit Boardroom. It's not as good as Manus, but if you're waiting for an invitation code, and if you need something that can browse the internet, search through, etc., then this is one of the best ways to do it. Carl says, I asked to be on the wish list and join the Discord. Thousands of people are in the Discord. Yeah, from what I actually heard, the Discord is blocked for Open Manus. So if we go onto Open Manus here, Manus AI, some people were telling me they couldn't get into Open Manus anymore. And I haven't seen any more invitation codes come out since the 8th of March, which was 2 days ago, right? So if we scroll through the chat here, literally there's 11,000 people online inside the Discord just waiting for a code. And you can see all the reactions here. Like, people are desperately trying to get access to this stuff, and no one has access, really, apart from a few people. And thankfully, I'm one of the lucky few. But that's why I'm testing it for you. I mean, if you want me to actually, for example, test this out for you and give you some prompts, like, just let me know. And if you, a lot of people are asking me for invitation codes, but just go to the AI Profit Boardroom. Number one, because there's an awesome community of people who probably will get invitation codes later. And number two, inside the SAP section here, you can get Open Manus. And Open Manus is the closest thing you're going to get to Manus. It's still better than ChatGPT. Like, for example, if you check ChatGPT and that output we asked for before, it's just nowhere near as good. So we've got the output back from bold.new right here. And we can preview this full size, right? So let me show you an example of what Manus did versus bold.new, right? Bear in mind, Manus doesn't specialize at this. Bolt.new does specialize at this. Now, they've both deployed to a subdomain, like you can see, but which one would you prefer? If I had to actually click on both of these, I'm going to go with this one, right? And the reason for that is because this one actually funnels traffic to booking in a call, which is what we want from our website, whereas this one is funneling traffic to LinkedIn and to Twitter as well. And number two as well, this is a lot more generic, right? So if you have a look at this, the content itself, we have a look at the page, like, how well does this sell us? Well, it's only got 78 words, so it doesn't sell us that great, right? It doesn't say that much information about us. It's very, very brief. If we have a look at this, it's like, who is Julian Goldie? Well, here's his expertise, and here's who he is, right? And it's a lot more in depth, it's a lot more in detail, and it also gives us a lot better research in terms of, like, okay, he's had 6 years of experience. He goes into the granular details. He's got a team of 70 people, etc. It's also got an About Us page as well. The other thing to note here is, like, if you compare Bolt's output versus Manus, and bear in mind, both of them were one-click AI agents, but if you look at Manus's example, it's actually got a full navigation bar here, and also the design just feels a lot more modern and new, right, in the way that it's created. It's also found information about the book and what the book is, etc. And it's also come up with, like, a career milestone section here. And the design just looks much more modern if we have a look at it. And then finally, of course, it sells our services as a whole services page. This website right here from bold.new doesn't have a services page at all, right? And so the difference in class is just absolutely outrageous. Like, you get so much more from Manus and, you know, what it's creating. And a lot of people were saying, Manus is a fake tool, or, you know, like, they're great at advertising, but the tool doesn't actually do all this stuff. I think they've over-delivered in terms of what it does. Like, this AI agent is better than I expected. I expect to test it out and, like, you know, maybe it'd be interesting, but not that great, etc. It's way smarter than I imagined. It's the closest thing to AGI I've ever seen. Let's be honest. And yeah, some people are saying, like, it created its own web scraper, which is absolutely amazing. Nicholas says, mate, you should really disclose you're getting paid for promoting these tools. I'm not getting paid to promote this at all, right? I've had zero payment to promote this at all. And usually, honestly, we just promote our own products rather than anything else. reason that we promote our own products inside these videos is we make more money, right? We turn down like 99.9% of partnership deals. What else we got here? So tell me how to get this website on live. All right, so if you want to get, let's say, for example, you create a website with Manus and you want to get it live, for example, like this one right here. Let's pull this up. Number one, it is live and it is deployed, but if you want to, for example, like get all the files from Manus, like so, let's pull this up. So we're gonna grab this. What we can say, I think, is like, just give me the HTML files from this project so I can download and host them. I just want the HTML, CSS, JS. I just want the project folder so I can host it on Netlify. I think you could actually, I'm not going to do this on a live stream, obviously, but I think you could actually, for example, just give Manus your login details to Netlify, and it could probably just go off and host them for you, right? What else we got here? So Carl was asking, can you compare current Google trends with the stock market today and make any reasonable correlation between them? I'm curious what it would put out. All right, let's try this. So we're going to set up a new session here. I think you can run multiple sessions at a time, but I'm not 100% sure. Also, the other thing to note here is like when you start a new session, it's got all these cool templates, right? So you can see here, for example, people asking like, okay, what's the use case? What's the use case? Here's the use case. So it's got all these featured options, and it's got research, life, data analysis, education, productivity, and WTF sections, right? And inside these sections, you can actually just click on one of these. It will just start running the prompt for you directly. You can also switch between standard and high effort. Now, bear in mind, what I used before was not even high effort, but you can use a high effort method. You can also attach stuff. So it seems to have like vision built in, so you can attach links too. But yeah, let's start this new session and see what we get. So I'm just going to go with standard, not high effort for now, just because, you know, I don't want the whole video to take absolutely ages. So switch to standard. We'll say now, okay, compare current Google trends with the stock market today and make any reasonable correlation between them. And then we're going to hit enter like so and see what it does. Now we've also got multiple different AI agents running in the background, right? So if we have a look at here, it's completed the zip files for Netlify, which is great. It's also initializing the sandbox for this method right here in terms of the Google trend and stock reviews. And then inside this chat, it's also thinking in terms of like how to create this SEO lead generation tool for you. It's actually creating a whole website, which is pretty crazy. So the thing to note here is like you can have multiple AI agents running in the background. So when you think about this, it's like you can have a whole team of employees working for you, which is pretty wild when you think about that. It's like, you know, let's say you tell John to go off and do the research. You got Mary who's going off and creating the code. You got Simon who's, you know, he's getting distracted on his lunch break. Well, inside Manus, you have a whole team, but you don't need to pay them all, right? And you don't need to, for example, give individual instructions. You don't need to quality control everything. You've got these AI agents running in the background like a team, and instead of paying like, you know, $2,000 to $10,000 for each employee, you can just have AI agents just go off into the world and do the magic for you, right? How terrifying is that, by the way? Like, when this gets out to the world, how many companies are going to replace their employees with something like this, right? If you have a virtual assistant, if you have, for example, a personal assistant, right? Anything that's related to online work, whether it's coding or deploying websites or SEO, etc., you could, in theory, get this AI agent to do it for you. The only thing that I can't see this AI agent doing is interacting with other people. So if you have something where you're doing in-human experiences, or, for example, if you have tasks where you are connecting with other people, for example, like link building outreach, you're not going to be able to automate that with these AI agents. But everything else where, you know, people are just going off into their own silos and doing their own magic, this is what Manus is super powerful for. So let's see how we're getting on with this process right here. Seems to be doing its magic. So let's have a look at Google Trends. I'm going to take these files right here and just show you how to get them hosted. So if we download this, we've got the zip file right there, which is great. And then if we go over to Netlify, we're going to add a new site, import an existing project, try Netlify drop, and we'll just grab that project folder with the files like so. So we can just deploy the website onto Netlify. Like you can see, we'll just wait for it to be deployed here. And then hopefully that should be good to go. Yeah, it works perfectly, right? So if we open this up, this is the project from Manus. Open up the production deploy. We can see the website is hosted on Netlify now, right? So we've got that website hosted fully. And then if we go to domain management, add a domain, buy a new domain, and then we'll say, okay, JulianGoldieSEO.com. Search for that right now. We've got a bunch of domains, and if we just buy one of these, it's going to be automatically hosted as a project directly to Netlify. So it's just incredibly easy as well to build websites out. And, something that you would normally pay an agency like tens of thousands of dollars to do, you can easily automate with Manus and its AI agents. So it's terrifying, but it's super powerful at the same time. So let's come back to Manus now. It does encounter issues, like you see. So it said, I've encountered a rate limiting issue with the Google Trends API. This is common, but it focuses on solutions, not problems. So it's just going to go off and figure out something else instead. Now, if we come back to Manus, it's still creating the tool and it's moving on to testing the functionality. So it's running the terminal right there. Pretty cool. And then Google Trends thinking as well. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to the SOP for Manus, feel free to get that. That's inside the SOP section of the AI Profit Boardroom. Just go to the classroom and then Manus AI, and you'll see the full SOP right here, along with how to set up Open Manus if you don't have an invitation code yet. Top of that, you'll get inside here all of my best trainings on like email content automation, social media, AI agents, web automation, AI SEO automation, Q&A call recordings, SOPs, and a crash course, right? This is basically guaranteed to save you time and make more money with AI. Top of that, if you ever get stuck, you can ask questions inside the community. We have 319 members ready to help you. And if you want to get help directly on a call, just join the weekly calls and the Q&As right here. And if you can't make the Q&As, it's okay because we record it. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits a month, and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and autopilot, feel free to get on this free link building acceleration session. You'll get a free SEO domination plan, custom tailored so you can generate more lead sales and profits. You'll discover the secrets to SEO link building, answer any questions you have one-to-one, and you'll learn the best link building strategy for your website. Plus, how to outrank your competitors based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching and see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Manus AI. This new one-click AI agent from China is absolutely insane. It's like having an army of robots on caffeine. Now, if, for example, you wanted a website, boom, you can build it now in one click. What, you want a custom-built SaaS product deployed and built in one click? No problem. Let's do that too. You can see that build right here. Maybe you just want to build out a website that used to take hours and hours to build and it looks better than your original site. Okay, great. We've done that right here. Maybe you want to create local SEO directories. Boom shakalaka. You can see we've built that using Manus and deployed it to a subdomain with a clear CTA as well. And if you want ChatGPT to do that, well, good luck. I'll show you what that means later. This is easily the closest thing I've seen to AGI. In fact, it's probably better than most humans at that point, because what human could just take a single prompt, for example, create and deploy the best, most useful tool you can for my SEO agency, Goldie Agency. This is for lead generation, and then just goes off, builds it and deploys it in minutes, and it works beautifully, like you can see right here. Show me another human on the planet who can do that this quickly without AI. So let's get into it. First off, we're going to start off with understanding why Manus AI is different from any other AI agent out there, and how to get started with it. Let's go. So you might be wondering, okay, what's different, right? So number one, if we have a look at the benchmarks, Manus is performing better on the GA/IA benchmarks versus all the other agents on the marketplace. Number two, it can actually, it's much more advanced, right? So it can, for example, like interact with live websites, which Grok, for example, can't. So if you tell, for example, like Grok to log into Twitter, or if you ask, DeepSeek to log into Twitter, it actually can't, right? Number 3, you can deploy websites on a subdomain directly, right? So for example, DeepSeek, Grok 3, they can't deploy websites directly on the subdomain, whereas Manus can. Also, if you compare it to something like ChatGPT, well, ChatGPT doesn't do the same tasks at the same level. So let's go back to that chat where we were looking previously on ChatGPT. If we go into ChatGPT here, and we'll pull this example up, all right? So this is what we get back if we say to ChatGPT, research Julian Goldie, then build and deploy the best possible website you can about him. That's what you get back. If you go over to Manus and we see the output from them, and we open up this subdomain, that's what you get back from Manus, right? So which output would you rather have? That one from ChatGPT, where it's just a block of text and it's not actually completed the task that we wanted to, aka building a website, or this one where you've got a full website with multiple pages deployed on a subdomain and ready to be hosted on a custom domain, right? The difference is huge. And then also, it's a lot more sort of independent and autonomous. And what I mean by that, for example, is like, if ChatGPT comes across a problem, it's not going to solve it for you. You have to give it directions and you have to give it prompts to figure that out. Whereas if, for example, you have a problem inside Manus, it's just going to problem solve everything for you, right? So if it encounters a problem, it's like, it's okay, but we're just going to go off and figure that out ourselves, right? And so that's the biggest difference here. It's like, if it encounters a problem, it problem solves for you. If ChatGPT encounters a problem, it just gives up and doesn't give you any more outputs. SM says, how about academic research and writing a narrative or systematic review for use of antidepressants in autoimmune diseases? I think you could, but honestly, I stray away from using AI for medical stuff. And the reason for that is because I haven't seen Manus do this, but quite often AI agents, they can hallucinate, right? And you just don't want to give medical information or leverage medical information for stuff like that. So it's not that powerful. And Viresh says, please give us a link to the free version. So if you join the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description, then you go to SOPs, and then you go to Manus AI. Number 1, you've got all the links there. And number 2, you've got until this license is available for everyone, you can use the open sourced version of Manus right here. And the open source version of Manus, Open Manus, I've included like setup instructions and also a full SOP, right? So there's full setup instructions inside there directly. So yeah, pretty wild here. Let's see what else we got. Josen says, super interesting stuff. Eldest Slab says, Manus is literally just browser use with Claude. I wouldn't agree with that because, for example, browser use with Claude is kind of limited, right? So when I've tested it out, it gets stuck at a lot of places and it can't perform all the tasks you want to, whereas this is more autonomous. The other thing that I would say is like with Manus, it can use the terminal directly, which, Claude is not going to use. And then number 2, it can actually deploy websites to subdomains, which Claude can't do, right? Now, Manus is using Claude to set it up and create outputs, but it's using it in a smarter way where it can create downloadable files, it can deploy to subdomains, it can connect to the internet. So it is very different in multiple ways. And the other thing as well is like Claude computer use, quite often it gets stuck or it gives up, right? And then it stops responding. Last time I used it anyway. Whereas, for example, Manus seems to be able to do it in a way where the AI just keeps going over and over again. Akram says, it's crazy what can be done with one prompt. Where's the website hosted right now? So it's hosted at manus.space. And then if you want to host it on Netlify, you just deploy it to Netlify and you get a custom domain inside the domain management section. Can you create a solid project with it? Absolutely. I mean, for example, if we have a look at this example right here, this is a solid project. There's no edits that I would make to this, apart from just actually adding my image, not this person's image. But apart from that, this is all good to go, right? None of the information here is hallucinated either. Like, this is actually based on real information on the web. So it's created a full project, it's created a website, it's done all the research, it's good to go. To get access to Manus, you would just join the AI Profit Boardroom and you can set up Open Manus, because right now you can't get access to Manus directly. It requires an invitation code. And from what I've seen, I've not seen any invitation codes go out to the public for the last couple of days. The only invitation codes that I've seen have gone out to influencers. For example, I've seen a couple of other YouTubers who got access to this, and I just got access to it last night through their team. But yeah, I mean, even if you look at, for example, like the way that this website is designed, this is all about, how we scale with agents, etc. You can see that it's super powerful, right? In the way that it's been laid out, the charts that it's built, etc. The AI agent evolution timeline. But yeah, really cool stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Varesh asks, can I learn React, AWS, and develop ops from scratch by using Manus? I think you could, absolutely, because you could just go back and forth inside the chat. You can ask it for help, etc. And yeah, I don't see any issues with that. Also going to deploy this tool that we just built, the SEO lead generator app. So we'll see what happens next on that. So that's nearly done. And you can also see here, it's getting on pretty well with the plan on collecting information for the stock analysis. But yeah, pretty wild. And Akram says, can it build bigger sites like directories or maybe clone sites like Airbnb or a social media platform? I think it could, because what you can do, for example, is you could go into a new session and you could say, okay, create a full directory for local SEO sites where you list, and you list juliangoldie.com and his agency, Julian Goldie Agency, as the best SEO agency in every area, right? Optimize each page to a different keyword for SEO, e.g. best local SEO agency Manchester. Make sure the directory is very comprehensive and it's a big website. So you could do something like that, right? That would be the prompt that I would use. You can also, for example, this is a tool inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Let me find this for you. That's super powerful, right? So for example, we can go, because you want to improve the prompts that you create and not just go with the basic ones. So in this situation, what we can do, for example, is we can go onto this tool, Prompt Forge, it's inside the AI Profit Boardroom, and we'll say, okay, improve this prompt so it's the best it can be in terms of prompting an AI agent to create the website. Make sure it's a prompt. And then it will just go off and do its magic, right? We'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, so you can see here, for example, we've got the full prompt. This is inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want to get access to the free tool. But we're using that prompt right there. We can actually take that, go into Manus, replace the prompt that we had, and then we can say, okay, just go off and do that, right? And it'll just go off and start doing its magic. So it's like, right, I'm going to help you create a comprehensive local SEO directory website that features Julian Goldie and Goldie Agency as the top SEO agency across multiple locations. I'll work on developing a well-structured, scalable website. We've optimized content for each location, proper schema markup, and all the technical SEO elements you've requested. Let me get started straight away, right? And yeah, I think that will create a pretty comprehensive website, honestly. If you look at this one, usually if you get an AI agent to build out a website, the content on each page is really, really thin. Whereas if you look at this, let's check, for example, the About Me page. If we check the About Me page, we count the words on there. It's created 500 words just on this one single page. And so it could easily scale up a nicely designed website like this, and then you can deploy that wherever you want to. So yeah, pretty wild right there. You can create full directories whenever you want. Jermaine says, can it act as your personal assistant? Log into your accounts online. Yeah, it actually can, right? So for example, if we created a new Twitter page, it would actually be able to go off and just start posting content on that page, I think, right? I'm tempted to test a new example, right? So if we go into, let's create a new page for Twitter. All right. So I'm going to create an account here. Let's see if we can create one with email. So we'll use email instead. Let's test this out. So I'm just going to put Julian here, the month, the day, etc. We'll plug this in and we'll create this new page here. Move the person to the right seat. All right. Use the arrow to move the person to the direct indicated seat. Ah, I see. Wow, we have to create Twitter is not easy to sign up with, right? So I'm going to create a test account on Twitter and we can see what it does. Oh, we have to do... Oh, I can't be bothered with that. But yeah, you could make it go off and just create like Twitter accounts for you if you wanted to. So I'm not going to do that because it seems like the authentication and everything takes too long. But essentially you could do that. What else we got here? Could it reprogram an old text-based game? I think it could. I mean, like any sort of coding challenges, it seems to be absolutely amazing on that. Could it create an online dropshipping website? Let's test this out. So we'll go over to Manus again and we'll test this bad boy out. Oh, we've got the SEO tool deployed as well. Look at that. Beautiful. It's got a few errors on it, but yeah, we've got the website deployed right here. It's got a nice little dashboard for lead generation. We can import leads. I mean, there's definitely a few errors there, right? But it's working nicely. I mean, I really like the UI there. Let's have a look at some of these other pages. Yeah, a lot of 404s there. So I think when you're building out with this, you definitely want to like just quality test it. Let's test this out now. So I'm going to type in, yes, it's kind of like a lead generation platform where you can just manage all your leads. You can see what's happening here. You can search through them, score, status, actions, company, etc. Pretty cool. Let's click on view, see what happens there. Yeah, still a few errors in there. So this one wasn't perfect, but still, I mean, for a tool you build in literally like one click, not bad at all. And then you just go back and iterate it, right? All right, let's go back to Manus and we're going to say, right, create a profitable dropship store with all necessities, e.g. find the niche, build the site, arrange the shipping, etc. I don't think it's going to be very good at finding the shipping because that's going to involve interaction with other people, but it can do everything else, right? So you can find the niche, build the website, create the content, etc. Now it's creating the SEO directory website, which is pretty nice. Google Trends is still going back with. I think that's quite a complicated one for it to interact with because it's using other APIs from Google Trends and everywhere else. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Can it manage a Telegram channel as an admin or moderator? I don't think it'd be very good for moderating the Telegram channel simply because it's not going to be live all the time, right? But what it could do is it could create like a automated, I bet it could create like N8N agent workflows if you wanted to. If you had all the integrations plugged in, and then from there, you could actually build like a Telegram agent that just goes off and builds stuff for you, right? Or it looks like we've reached the daily usage limit right there during the beta testing period. So that's pretty much all we're going to get out of this. But that's cool. I mean, I'm happy with everything we did. So fair enough. We've run through a lot of things. Could you create a mental health app for men? Absolutely, I think you could, right? I don't see any issues with that. Don't think there's going to be any worries there. So just to recap here, you know, we've done a 30-day trip for Manus right here. So it's come up with like the activities, the attractions, the dining options, super comprehensive. It went off and created a full presentation on Manus AI agents and how they're going to change the world, etc., which is pretty cool, right? You can see that deployed right here. Really good stuff. We even created the charts, did all the research, connected to the web, and deployed and coded the site itself. It created a full SaaS software, like you can see right here, with dummy data for leads, nice UI, a discovery process for finding more leads, a section for managing your leads, etc., and even a sign-in option. It created a full website and personalized it to me. So it went off, did all the research, found information about me, who I am, etc. And then additionally, what else did it do? So it created an SEO local directory, like you can see, and it's still building that out, which is pretty cool. It deployed this SEO tool, and it's used Google Trends data to analyze reports. In fact, we've got the report back right here. So You can see, for example, it's done the Google Trends and stock market correlation analysis report with an executive summary, collected all the data, analyzed the data, and then found like positive trends. So, for example, S&P 500 search interest versus Amazon stock price, the Federal Reserve search interest versus Microsoft stock price. That's really comprehensive right there. And also it can create files and then you can download the files as well. Okay? Also, it creates really nice charts. Has it actually created these charts? That's crazy. Yeah, key visualizations. So it can also visualize data for you, which is super interesting. Not going to pretend I know what all of this means, but, that's why we've got AI agents thinking for us now. And it looks like we're getting back the SEO directory right here. Yeah, I think this is definitely using Claude. I want to see what else as well other people are doing with Manus on Twitter. I can't be the only one showing off the skills. So let's have a look what we got on Twitter as well right here. It is unbelievable. I mean, like, if you haven't seen this already, right, I'm just going to mute the page. This is an AI controlling 50 different screens at once. This is Manus AI, right? So it's logging into Twitter, it's messaging people over here. It's like interacting with mobiles, etc. It's pretty wild what it can do, and it's doing all of that on one single page. Unbelievable. If you compare this to ChatGPT, DeepSeek, anything else, it's so much better. And the reason is, like, even if it is just using Claude as the API, the reason is it's just so much more free in terms of what it can do and how it can integrate with stuff, right? So instead of, like, for example, having to set up Claude computer use agent yourself or deploy it and then figure out how to code on terminal, which, let's be honest, 99% of people are never going to be able to do. This makes one-click AI agents way more discoverable and way more available for everyone on the internet, right? So even if you have no idea what you're doing, and that's basically the mass market, right? The mass market, billions of people out there who don't understand how to code or don't have any technical skills, this makes AI agents available for them, right? And so how is the world going to change when everyone on the planet has access to this? That's what's scary, right? And I don't think people realize that. Whereas, for example, everyone has access to Claude browser use, but not everyone knows how to set it up or how to use terminal or how to code or, how to get past all the coding errors that come up, right? Here's another example. So someone created like a plane. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So someone said code a 3JS game where you control a plane, and then they just built this out right here. That is absolutely wild. And again, it can use terminal for you, so you don't need to use terminal, which is crazy stuff. Can analyze stocks. We've already shown that. It can plan 2-month trips. Already shown that with the Manhattan one. Let's have a look at this one. This is super interesting. So yeah, it can create really nice visualizations of data as well. And yeah, this is the closest thing I've seen to AGI. I wonder where it comes out on in terms of the AGI tests, but it's pretty wild. Yeah. The other thing I would say is, like, imagine if you gave this to all of your team, right? Imagine if your whole team had access to something like this. Couldn't they achieve so much more? For example, if every single member of your team or every single member of your business had access to something like this, and they essentially have their own department of AI agents that can just go off, create content, create code, and all of a sudden your whole business, if you train them on how to use this stuff, can scale way, way faster. Way faster. Here's another example. Create 4 weeks of content in 2 minutes. This is unbelievable. I mean, that website that we created, like, I remember when I had to code websites myself and build them out, like, that would take me probably a whole weekend to do and maybe 12 hours a day. So from like Friday to Sunday. Whereas now you can create a whole website in a few minutes, deploy it, and it's already hosted on a custom domain, like I've shown you with my own site today. Right? Wild stuff. And people are saying it's like a DeepSeek moment. Absolutely it is. And yeah, create some nice images. This is a great thread, by the way, by Min Choi. Check it out on Twitter. Yeah, you can see people creating like these 3JS games. This is an endless runner game. Yeah, the other thing I've seen is, like, look at this. This is wild too. So you got Manus controlling like 5 different laptops and coding at the same time. That is the future though. Like, just autonomous agents who just go off and do their own crazy stuff. What else we got here? B2B supplier sourcing. So there's a lot of actual like practical business examples, researching the internet, GitHub project research. Yeah, this is all basic stuff, but I mean, the main thing for me would be like, using it to scale my agency. Can I create more websites and tools that collect leads? Absolutely. Can I get it to tweet on my behalf? Absolutely. Can I create full websites that actually rank on Google and send traffic to my website? Absolutely. So, you know, I wouldn't be worried about the future, but I'd be asking myself, like, how can I adapt right now? Because things are changing and they're changing every single day. Like, if you look a week ago, ChatGPT, Claude, etc., these were the top tools on the planet. And now all of a sudden, Manus comes out, and in the space of like 48 hours, the whole world changes. And, there's a new top dog in town. So crazy stuff. All right. So thanks very much for watching. Like I said, the whole recipe, and I will create a new recipe as well out of the details that I've sent today. But the whole recipe is inside the AI Profit Boardroom. This comes with all my best workflows on like email automation, social media, AI agents, web automations, AI SEO automations, Q&A, call recordings. These get updated weekly. A crash course to save you hundreds of hours with AI. And on top of that, all of my best recipes, right? So inside here, I'm going to add a new recipe for Manus, but also if you want to learn how to use open source Manus, Open Manus, okay, then all the installation instructions are in there, along with, for example, like a full course on DeepSeek. We have a 3.5-hour course on DeepSeek, loads of automations, NA10 agents, plus workflows you can download right here. Like everything you could ever want when it comes to AI is inside the AI Profit Boardroom, along with a community of 318 people that you can ask for help, who are all dedicated to growing their business and scaling with AI. And on top of that, it comes with weekly Q&As with us, right? So if you want to jump on a call with us and the community, you can jump on here and ask any questions you have, problem solve anything that you want, and just get help whenever you want it. All right, so feel free to get that. Prices are going up pretty soon, and prices will go up like I would probably say like every 50 or 100 members will probably increase the prices, just because obviously we can't have like 10,000 people in there, right? We want to help everyone. We want to make sure we give everyone the support and the help they need. So we can't have loads of people in there, which is why we're increasing the price. But yeah, feel free to get that link in the comments and description. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to get that. On this free link building acceleration session, you'll get a free SEO domination plan. You'll discover the secrets of SEO link building. You'll get a custom tailored plan so you can generate more leads and sales from your website. And we'll answer any questions you have one-to-one. So, you can jump on that call. And normally people will pay SEO consultants like thousands of dollars. And also, if you look at the way the world is changing, like, I'm one of the few SEOs who's embracing AI. And so if you jump on a call with our team, then you can learn from what we're learning, right? Because we're testing every day. We're in the trenches every day, like you can see, and you can ask us any questions you have. So feel free to do that. Link in the comments and description. And you also learn how to increase your SEO traffic based on what's working for us right now. So feel free to get that. And also let's come back to Manus, see if we've got the report back. If we don't, we can end it there. If we do, okay, yeah, look at that. So it's building the whole SEO directory step by step. Maybe I'll show that in a future video and get it deployed as well. But yeah, unbelievable stuff, absolutely amazing stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. See you on the next one. Bye. Manus AI, how to build anything. Today I'm going to show you how to build anything, SaaS tools, and we'll show you some examples of games, etc. All of this stuff I've actually built. You can get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if we click on this link, this one, and this one, you can see, for example, we actually built a game out directly with Manus. I'll show you exactly how to do this step by step today, but it's pretty cool. It actually does work. So if we walk around here, we've got this little crazy guy walking around the forest in medieval times, trying to get into the castle, and then we can just walk around. We can also zoom out, and we can have a little bird's eye view if we want to, right? We've also got, for example, this website. I actually built this out directly with Manus too, and it went off, did all the research, etc. Even recommended our agency as the best SEO agency. Let's have a look at another example. So this is a presentation that Manus created and deployed directly to the internet. So it can do like deep research. You can compare AI agents benchmarks. You can create nice diagrams, etc. We built this page out with Manus AI, as you can see, is working beautifully. During the tutorial that I show you as well, I even built and deployed this website live on the video. So you'll see exactly how to set this up. And this is looking fantastic, all with Manus AI in like one single prompt. On top of that, I even build a SaaS tool out live on the chat. So if you want to jump on weekly Q&As like this, feel free to join the AI Profit Boardroom. And if you want the recipe and everything else from today that I show you directly, just go inside the AI Profit Boardroom, and then you can see all the links to the recipes, step-by-step instructions, examples of what we've built previously as well, so you can check it out, along with all of our best workflows and weekly Q&As. Manus AI is breaking the internet, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So, for example, if we look at Google Trends over time, this is for the search term Manus, you can see since its release, it is absolutely flying in terms of people searching for it. It's becoming extremely popular. And these are all the breakout terms around this. Now, you can see, for example, it's still trending on Twitter like for 3 or 4 days at this point. Here's an example of the Manus AI agent from China, and it is controlling 50 screens. Here's another one where Manus is actually briefing someone whilst Tesla self-drives its own car. You can see it actually creates games. I'll show you a game I created in a minute ago, which was pretty powerful. You can create like 3JS games, and they're really, really cool, actually. And then here's another example of Manus controlling like 6 different laptops and 1 mobile using its AI agent process. And so it's pretty wild. I've actually got access to Manus. Some people don't have the invitation code. If you don't have the invitation code, we actually do have some SOPs on how to access Open Manus locally, which doesn't require an invitation code. And that is inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want to check that out. Link in the comments description. But we're going to get straight into this, and I'll show you some examples of what I built this morning. And we'll kick off with the fantasy game. So I actually went straight into Manus this morning. I said, create a 3JS a fantasy game like Game of Thrones. And you can see here, it went off, started coding it, developing it, etc. Then we said like anonymize the game, etc. So that, no, we don't want any copyright issues or anything like that. Remove anything about Game of Thrones. It actually wasn't playable the first time we created it, just something to bear in mind. And then it went off, recreated it, and even tested it. So you can see here it's actually browsing the image and test it out with a screenshot. And if we open this bad boy up, we're going to open up Medieval Realms Fantasy. And you can see we have the very basics of a game beginning right here. So we have this little geezer just going around, walking through forests. And then we can control it like so. Like I'm just controlling that with my laptop. If you want to actually zoom out, you can inside the game. So you can see here, we can go underneath or we can go above. We can scroll through and we can zoom it out as well. So we've got the whole landscape there. And if we zoom in, we've got this geezer ready to go. It looks like a post box. So let's go into the castle here. We'll have a little cheeky gander of what's going on. And this is available, I think, I don't know if anyone can see this. Let me just open it up on incognito and see if anyone can see this. Yeah, you can play this game if you want to. I'll put it inside the AI Profit Boardroom notes from today in case you want to get access to all this stuff. But yeah, this is a game that we created. So pretty cool that you can actually just build games. I mean, I always wanted to be like a game developer when I was younger, and I couldn't because I wasn't smart enough at coding. Just going to be 100% honest and humble right there. But now it doesn't even matter, all right? I never imagined that would be possible, but now you can build your own websites, your own apps, your own tools, etc. Like I'll show you some other examples as well as we go along, but it is absolutely awesome what you can do with this. So this was just one example. Let me show you a few more examples of what we got here and what we've built. So, for example, I want to show you some other examples of like what other games people have built, right? So here's another one that someone built. This was an endless runner game. So basically the way you want to prompt Manus if you are using it is say make a 3.js game, right? So you can create whatever game you want, but you want to make sure that it is 3.js. And that's how you get these sort of nicely designed 3D games that are pretty fun. You can see all these obstacles right there playing. I also saw this other game. Let me pull this one up here. So this is crazy. So Bilawal said Manus AI is pretty good at vibe coding games. Vibe coding is just like, you don't need to code to create this stuff. Just gave one prompt, code a 3JS game where you control an F-117 Nighthawk and can drop bombs over a data center and accumulate points for how many runaway AGIs you destroyed. And you can see an example of the game right here. Let me just mute this tab and I can pull this up and show you it. I mean, that's pretty wild. Like, that actually looks really cool. I would say it's better than the game that I built, but I just literally built my game in like a few minutes. So, yeah, it's crazy stuff what we can do here. I mean, we're looking at I, a lot of people saying like, AGI is impossible. You can't do AGI, etc. I would say at this point, can a human do this? No. So in some ways, it's more intelligent than a human. We're pretty much looking at AGI at this point, right? I'll give you an example, a story that happened at our company recently this month, but I just want to show you this example as well. So this was another vibe coding, this from owner Ozcan, who said he actually crafted the prompt with Grok and then built the backend and deployed it. But this was built with Manus AI and Cursor. And like, how realistic is that? That's like a PlayStation 2 game. It's pretty crazy. And you can see he's selecting the costume for the cowboy and everything else. Nice little landscape there. I mean, these are not bad games. This is not just, for example, a self-playing Snake game, that was super basic. This is building something that is very, very impressive at this point. And bear in mind, this is the worst it's ever going to be. And a few months ago, we couldn't do anything like this. And now all of a sudden, in the space of minutes, we can build games, and it doesn't take a long time at all. So it's blowing my mind, my friends, blowing my mind. So if you want to build stuff like this, basically, let me show you how we do it. So we just say, right, yeah, well, that's another stuff that I built. I'll come on to how to build websites in a minute. So these are some pretty cool stuff. But let me show you how to build these fantasy games and that sort of thing. So literally all you need to do is just say, like, create a 3JS game. And then if you have some ideas of what you want it to be like, you can just give some examples here. So I said like Game of Thrones because I wanted to create like a fantasy style game. And then it's going to go back and forth. Now, bear in mind, that's probably going to take you about, I would say 45 minutes, something like that. And by the way, peeps, if you don't have access to this, I've got this recipe inside the AI Profit Boardroom on Manus right here. And it actually breaks down, number one, how to use Manus. So we've got a full recipe on exactly how to use it and build stuff based on what's working for me. But number two, you've got setup instructions for kind of like an open source version of Manus right here, including like the installation, setup instructions based on what's working for me. It took me about probably, I would say 30 minutes to 45 minutes to figure it out, but you can just get the instructions to steal them from me and then just copy me if you want. So crazy stuff right there. And that is how to build games. Now let's come on to how to build websites, right? So if we go back to Manus, over here, if you want to build websites, let me show you an example right here. This is one that I deployed this morning for the AI Profit Boardroom. And basically, you can see here, what it's actually done is it's just embedded my VSL, right? Then it's linked directly to my funnel. We've got all the content right here. And then it's designed and written all the copy for the landing page, like you see. So it's like, right, here's a problem. Here's what you can do. It's designed it nicely too. I didn't tell it to write any of this. I'll show you the prompt in a second that I used. And then you can see it's like created this nice little copy. It's written some information about me. It's added some testimonials, like you can see, and just embedded them nicely. Then it's got some examples of how the AI Profit Boardroom works. And it just designed this whole page, wrote the copy, designed it, deployed it on a subdomain, and coded it with just a couple of prompts. So let me show you what I did for this. Basically said, research Julian Golding's AI Profit Boardroom, right? So I didn't actually feed it any information. I just said, just go off and do this. Then create a really modernized, beautiful website promoting his AI Profit Boardroom. Link to sign up is here. So I made sure that it knew the link to send all the traffic to. Don't include any price on the website, but do include plenty of information, what it is, why to buy, write the copy like Alex Hormozi, include plenty of social proof about me, and then here's the embeddable VSL that we can insert, right? And then it went off and did it. It was actually really struggling. I think because it's so popular, it said due to the current high service load, tasks cannot be created. So I had to try about 5 times. Then it started coding everything, and it deployed it, but there was a few problems on it. So when I was checking it out previously, it just made up, it added these testimonials that are not relevant. These are for my SEO agency, not for me. And then also this content right here wasn't evergreen, right? So inside the content had this early beta price ending soon, which doesn't make sense because, it's March 11th and this is for March 10th. By the way, prices are going to go up, but we're just allowing a few more people to join who, are in different time zones and that sort of thing in the AI Profit Boardroom. But basically, we updated it. So I said, remove anything about the early beta price. instead of the existing testimonials, use these images. And I said like these are rectangles with text, so they need to be large enough to read. And then for the 100+ success stories, these are related to Goldie agency in general, not just AI. Modernized the design, went off and did it, went off and deployed it, boom shakalaka. We got that ready to go. All right. Now, if you want to, for example, deploy this, let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to say, okay, give me the files to host as a folder on Netlify. All right. And, we've built out this whole website. It's written the copy. It's figured out how to sell it. It's embedded the VSL. It's designed it nicely. And it's done all the research about me, right? I just literally gave it one prompt and it figured it all out, right? And so if you want to deploy it, let me show you how to do that. So basically, we have to ask it for the files to host as a folder on Netlify. What it should do next is create a zip file. We unzip it locally, and then we'll drag and drop it into Netlify. And I'll show you how to host this on a custom domain, right? So if you just want to build like websites really, really quickly and just get them deployed, this is exactly how you do it, all right? And what else we got here? So Fantasy Cloud says, what is Manus AI? So Manus AI, let me pull up some notes from Perplexity here, right? Manus AI basically is, it's designed by the Chinese startup Monica, right? So it's basically the next evolution of autonomous AI agents, right? So instead of, for example, getting it to build something or research something for you, you can just give it like one task and it'll go off and do it, deploy it, and problem solve along the way, right? It doesn't really get stuck. So it's actually outperforming a lot of other tools. It is kind of like a Claude wrapper, right? So it's like Claude connected to like 29 different tools. But because it's connected to so many tools and because it's like integrated with so much, it seems to be a lot more autonomous. So for example, like Manus can autonomously build websites, analyze data sets, plan travel itineraries, stuff that, previously up to now with ChatGPT or any other tool, you would have to have a human to handle each of these tasks, right? So it's really just like a leap forward in terms of like, the next evolution of things. It's kind of like a DeepSeek moment. When DeepSeek changed the world in January, a couple of months ago, this is kind of like the next evolution of that, essentially. I mean, to the point where, you just, I don't know whether you would hire humans for a lot of tasks when you really get your head around this and when it really becomes fully popular. Because, for example, if I haven't, this was a story I was going to come on to later, right? But I'll tell you now. So we actually have a manager at our team. I won't say who it is because I love them to bits, right? They're a fantastic manager to work with and I absolutely respect them massively. But I assigned them a task the other day and I was like, just go off and create this landing page for our new automation service, right? Just figure it out. One of our core values, solutions, not problems. So just go figure it out, super easy to do with Bolt or whatever. And they actually got stuck. And when they deployed it, it wasn't quite right. They had to go back and forth with a lot of questions, etc. Whereas, for example, if you went onto Manus and you told it to do exactly the same thing, it will just do it and figure it out and problem solve everything for you. So there's none of that back and forth that you would previously have with a virtual assistant or a manager or anyone else, right? And here's the other thing as well. If I pull this up as an example, and I massively respect my team. So, it's nothing to do with that. It's just, I'm showing you like the scary capability of how powerful this is and how it can actually be more intelligent and better than humans, which, the world needs to know and understand. But for example, if I just tell Manus to figure it out, it's like, right, boom, we're going to code it. I'm going to research it. I'm going to problem solve everything along the way. I'm going to deploy it. I'm going to make it look great. And I'm going to make sure all the content on the page is pretty much perfect, right? And I'll do all of that without you managing it or paying hourly for that process, right? And so that's the biggest difference here is like, you're looking at something that can problem solve better than humans, that can do jobs better than humans. It's that leap between having ChatGPT, which is great at research, but requires common sense, to Manus that can just go off, complete tasks, do things without your help. You don't need to manage or quality control them so much. And, that's saving you thousands of dollars along the way, right? And also you can do multiple tasks at the same time. So we can have, for example, Manus creating a game, creating a website, and creating a landing page all at the same time in the background whilst I just go off and do some research about Manus in the background, right? And I'll come on to some of the implications of this in a second because it is scary stuff. And I'll talk about what's going to happen in the future, potentially, right? No one knows the future, of course, but I can give you some examples of what potentially can happen. Let's see what else we got inside the chat here. So Creative Chris says, any tips to get access to Manus? If you want to get access to Manus, I mean, just join the Discord, wait for the invitation codes. Also, I would recommend applying for the waiting list. You can apply for the waiting list too. And the other thing is, if you have an audience in the AI industry, that seems to be the fastest way. So for example, for me, I have an audience, they approached me, they reached out to me and said, hey, if you want an invitation code, you can. And they didn't even ask me to create a video, but I did. I offered to create a video. And Creative Chris says, like what you stated you would use it for. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of what I would use Manus for, right? I mean, it's pretty much anything that a human could do, right? So give you some examples. So here we actually planned a 30-day trip to Manhattan. As you can see, it came up with the budgets, accommodation, what to do every day, everything that I need to pack, think about locations, areas, etc. You can build games, right? So we've shown that example of this website right here, and this is deployed. Anyone can now play it, and that game is just ready and built out, like you can see. All right, so you can plan travel trips, you can build out games, you can, for example, create landing pages and then host them, right? So we've created this landing page for the AI Profit Boardroom. And if you want to see what the website looks like, let me pull this up for you right here. All right, so this is the website right here. As you can see, you can create landing pages and websites really, really quickly and easily. And then if you want to deploy them on a custom domain, we can just download them over here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Netlify. I'll open up the zip file in a minute and unpack the folder. And then we're going to go over to add new site, import an existing site, try Netlify drop, and we can just host that website we built with Manus right here, right? So we'll wait for that to upload inside Netlify. We'll open up the production deploy. That's ready to go. As you can see, funnel links should work perfectly. Yeah, they do. Boom shakalaka. And then if we go over to domain management, we can just buy a custom domain for this, right? So if we put AI, hopefully AI Profit Boardroom is ready to buy. There we go. We'll buy that. AIProfitBoardroom.com. You're seeing history in action right here. So I'm deploying this website to a custom domain, which is AI Profit Boardroom. That should be ready to go. You can see it's preparing the domain here. So it's just setting up the DNS records automatically. And then what it will do, I'm going to have to bookmark this and come back to it later, is we can actually get HTTPS set up in that as well. Should automatically deploy, honestly. But if it doesn't, I can come back to it later. And that is deploying now, as you can see, AIProfitBoardroom.com. Boom shakalaka, Manus just helped me launch a website, right? That's how easy it is. You can do that for any business, any industry, etc., right? So you can see examples of how you can use this, like for games, websites, apps, tools, travel itineraries, pretty much anything that you can imagine you can do with this really powerful tool. So let's have a look at some other examples. So what else have we got here? I actually analyzed yesterday the stock market and compared Google Trends with stock market correlation analysis. You can see it did a bunch of charts right here and just analyzed the correlation between the stock market and Google Trends. And then it also gave us like a report of what to expect and how it's going, right? So if we open up this report, we can see the full report right here. It's super autonomous. It just goes off and does exactly what you want it to do. Let's have a look at another example. So this was a local SEO directory. We're just going to host it and deploy it on the public network right here in a second. And basically what I did was I created a local SEO directory, which we've deployed with tons of different location pages, right? So if you want to build like a directory website out, you can rank it on Google, you can make money with that process, and you can send traffic to your business, wherever you're based or wherever you sell locally, whether you're an agency, whether you're a local business, whatever you sell. If you sell somewhere locally, you can create like a nice little directory like this. And the prompt we used here, I'll show you the preview in a minute, but the prompt we actually used here was like create a large, fully optimized local SEO directory. Here's the key requirements. Here's what to do. And it should deploy it, as we can see right here. So you can see it's successfully deployed right here. Let's open this bad boy up. We've got the local SEO directory ready to go. And this should funnel traffic to our SEO agency, as you can see, which is great. And then if we click on get a free consultation, takes us straight through to the book a call page. Beautiful. And then also if we go to locations here, we can see all these locations like so, right? Pretty cool stuff. I actually did a better previous version for me. If I scroll up here, I think there was actually a better version. Let me find that for you. Here we go. Here's the other one. All right, so this was the better designed version. I don't know why I switched back to the old one, but you can see this is a much nicer designed version. It's got the locations like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco. If we click on that, for example, it recommends us as the best SEO agency. Links to our funnel pages. It's got some information to rank for SEO, and then it's got all these different pages right here. All right, so you can see how you can quickly like host and deploy a website step by step. Fancy Cloud says Manus AI versus Claude 3.7. Good question. So this is going to make you laugh, but as I said earlier, Manus is kind of like a wrapper for Claude, right? So if you don't understand this already, just to be very, very clear here, like the Manus is basically Claude's API connected to like 30 different tools or 29 different tools. And that's what it's using to generate all this stuff, right? So it's not like built its own custom API from what I've seen. I'm pretty sure I'm 99% sure that the CEO of Manus actually confirmed this. It's like you've got Claude's API, and then you've got that connected to 29 different tools, which is how it's become so autonomous. But it just, it does create a lot of value. Like a lot of people, slate wrappers and that sort of thing for AI, but honestly, I don't have a problem with it. It's like if you're creating something of value, then there's no issues here, right? There's absolutely no issues. So that's the way that I see it. I want to find this tweet about the wrapper. Let me try and find this on Twitter to see where it's fully confirmed. Yeah, so a lot of people saying that is just a Claude wrapper, like you can see, but it's a very clever one, right? So there's no real comparison here. The only difference is, like, for example, if you go straight onto Claude and you're like, okay, tell me about Manus AI, because its data is only updated to October, it's not going to understand what it actually is, right? So, for example, it has no information about the Chinese Manus, and it has no updated information. So if we ask, for example, inside Claude, when was your data last updated? We can pull this up, and it says, my knowledge was last reliably updated at the end of October 2024. So Claude 3.7 is not connected to the internet. It's not as autonomous. Whereas if you put it inside a wrapper, like you can see with Manus, then Manus makes it much more autonomous because it's connected to the internet. It can search things. It can, browse the internet. It can browse websites, etc. live. So, you can't really compare them. Abdul says how you get assets. I already talked about that. Let's see what we've got. Aranda says, so it's like NA10. It's like NA10, but the difference is, NA10 is a lot more technical and time-consuming to set up, right? Because you have to set up the APIs yourself. You have to connect the different tools. You have to test everything. Honestly, like, to build similar things, let's say you want to build that game that I built earlier, right? So let's run back to that. If you wanted to build that game that we talked about earlier, it would be so much more work inside NA10. It would take a long, long time. Even building a basic website like this, it'd be a little bit techy, a little bit complicated. Because, for example, even setting up a basic Telegram bot, it's going to look something like this, and it's going to get quite complicated, right? Whereas if you go back to Manus, it's no code, and there's no APIs involved. You just give it the text and the prompt, and it's good to go. So that's the difference. So I would say, honestly, unless you're a wizard and you love spending time setting up workflows, if you have the option between using NA10 or Claude or Manus, you'd always go for Manus because Manus is more autonomous. It does exactly what you want it to do. Fancy Cloud says, what are the benchmarks? Great question. let me try and pull this up for you, and we'll find the Manus AI benchmarks right here. So I'm just going to go straight onto Manus's website, and they've actually got the Gaia benchmark here. So it's comparing OpenAI's deep research versus Manus AI and previous SOTA. And you can see here that by a long way, Manus AI is absolutely smashing it, right? One of the biggest differences here is like, you've got Claude 3.7 that just came out super recently, whereas OpenAI's deep research, it came out before Claude 3.7. And also bear in mind, like OpenAI deep research, it's not going to deploy stuff for you, right? So it can't build and deploy a subdomain for you. It's just going to give you the information within the chat. And yeah, NA10 is not even comparable. You can't compare Manus versus NA10. I just think that, if you're looking at the general population and you're looking at, okay, which one will people be more likely to adapt? Which one's going to be easier for them to understand? Well, for example, if you compare this and you're like, right, build me a website based on this prompt, and it just goes off and deploys it and builds it, and you can have the website hosted, like you see right here within minutes, then that's going to be way more user-friendly and more adaptable for the general population versus something like this. Like, what percentage of the population could build something like this? It's just, as soon as they see that workflow, it's going to put them off, right? So I'm a big fan of NA10, but if you look at both of these tools, which one is easier to use, which one is simpler, which one is designed for mass usage across the general population, well, of course, is Manus, right? Manus just makes everything a bit easier and simpler. Creative Chris says, I am using Claude 3.7 in BSC and love it, but it does sometimes send you on a random steer. I want to get access to Manus, but no reply from Manus crew. Any tips? I want to write in the reason. They actually reached out to me because I have an audience, so I don't really have any tips on that. I honestly, like, most of the people that I've seen get access to it lately have been people who have an audience. So that's the number one thing, is like have an audience in the AI. And if you don't have an audience and you really want access, and you already applied and you're already waiting on the Discord, etc., then you can get the SOP for Open Manus inside the AI Profit Boardroom, as I showed you earlier. So there you go. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. The other thing I would say is, like, I compared it yesterday versus bolt.new. So if you've not seen this already, let me show you an example here. So if we go into bolt.new, I'll pull up some example websites that I built earlier. All right, so this is an example website that was built for me yesterday, I think it was. And we'll open up this, and then I'll show you how this looks. So here's a website, right? So this is the one built with bolt.new, right? Totally random image for someone who definitely isn't me, right? It does manage to figure out, okay, this is who it's about. But look at that for the design. There's no there's no navigational menu bar here. There's no real information about, what I do, etc. It just says I'm an SEO expert, which doesn't really help people. And also the copywriting is pretty poor, right? So Julian helps businesses achieve exponential growth through data-driven strategies. Like, it's so generic, and it feels like AI fluff from the first sentence. Also, the content on the page is really thin, right? That's probably not going to convert very well. Whereas if, for example, we go over to the AIProfitBoardroom.com, so this is a page built by Manus. You can see it's embedded the VSL. It's designed it beautifully. It's got a nice little navigation bar here that actually works. It's embedded the testimonials of me. I mean, which one would you think is going to convert better for sales, right? Is it this one right here with basically no content? Or is it this one right here that's just like the next evolution of website design and was deployed instantly, right? Of course, it's going to be this one. So that's the biggest difference here. You can see how cool the websites are that you can build with this. It's absolutely incredible. A lot of people are saying this is scary stuff. It is scary. It scares me even. Like, and I'm way ahead of the curve, I would say, when it comes to AI. I've spent hundreds of hours testing all this stuff. This one scares me more than anything else that I've seen, in the past. So, yeah. And like I was saying before, for those people who say that, oh, this, Manus is just a Claude wrapper, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't worry about that, because which one is more autonomous? Well, it's Manus. Okay, which one can deploy subdomains? Manus. All right. Well, which one connects to the internet? Is Manus, right? And so you can see the difference between them. Like, it's just a more powerful. It's like you've got Claude 3.7 and you're using the API from there, and then you're putting it on steroids to build something that's way better. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy stuff. And yeah, a lot of people are talking about like the difference between, China and the US in terms of AI development. I mean, I've seen some theories that were talking about how, for example, like this is some conspiracy theory to crash the market. I don't know if you saw it previously, with DeepSeek. DeepSeek actually wiped out $1 trillion in the US tech market, right? $969 billion was dropped from the market when DeepSeek came out, right? Temporarily in technology stocks, particularly here, Nvidia, that went down by, I think it was 17% after DeepSeek was released. Like that's how much of a big threat it is. So yeah, this is serious stuff. And the gap that I've noticed, for example, like the gap. Let's pull this up. We'll get the old whiteboard out here. And so if you look at Chinese AI, right, we'll put Chinese AI in red. So Chinese AI is going like that, right? In fact, let's pull this chart up and we'll make this a bit better. All right. So if we say like innovation over here, all right, so this is innovation, and then we have time at the bottom, right? So for example, you've got when ChatGPT was first released in the bottom corner here, and then you've got maybe 2025 over here. Okay. Terrible handwriting, but you get the point, right? Kind of like what happened was like, ChatGPT came out and it was amazing, and then it's just kind of leveled off a little bit right there, right? That's how the US sort of AI market is going. Like it's the increases and improvements in AI are just kind of stagnating. This is not 100% accurate as a chart, but I'm just giving you an idea. China have kind of been like this, right? So they've released like Quen and that sort of thing. And it's kind of been more constant. And then all of a sudden it shot up, right? And the difference between Chinese AI and US AI, so for example, like you got ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not open source, right? Whereas, for example, the Chinese AI, like DeepSeek, is open source. And even, for example, Manus has a Open Manus, which is like an open source version of it. So that's the biggest difference I'm seeing in the market is like, number one, the speed of innovation seems to be way faster from China. And number two, China's AI seems to be a lot more open source. Like, for example, if you go over to, I don't know if you use Olama. Olama is great for hosting AI locally, but look at the list, right? So QWQ, that is from Alibaba. So that's a Chinese AI, and you can download that and host that locally. And then DeepSeek R1, that is open source, and you can host that locally too. Whereas you're not going to find like ChatGPT directly in there. So that's the biggest difference here. Creative Chris says, have you used browser UI? I like browser UI, but it breaks and it gives up quickly. All right, so that's why I really stopped showing it in my latest videos. I do have a few videos of me using browser use web UI. This one in particular, I think, or where is it? Yeah, if you watch this course right here, this course, it includes some information on like browser use web UI. And there's also inside the AI Profit Boardroom, I think we have some SOPs on it. Let's have a look. Yeah, we've got tons of SOPs on like how to use web UI, as you can see right here. So for example, with Google Gemini, it's completely free to use, all these different use cases here. And if someone's watching this and they're not sure about what browser use web UI is, you can basically run this in your browser. I actually use it inside my own Chrome, and then you can link it to all sorts of APIs. But it's nowhere near as powerful as Manus. Manus is just 10 times more powerful. Abdul asks, how can Manus AI help someone start a SaaS business? Great question. So if you want to start your own SaaS business, here's an example that I built with Manus. Let me pull this up. So I'm just going to go back to it right here. All right. So for example, we said, let's pull this up. I don't know if it's still going to be running. We'll have to redeploy it. So it's going to redeploy there. But basically we said to Manus, create and deploy the best and most useful tool you can for my SEO agency, Goldie Agency, right? So basically create a SaaS tool for my SEO agency. This is for lead generation. And if we scroll down here, you can see that it just went off and created it, right? So if you have an idea for a SaaS product, then you can easily create it using Manus, and it will build the front end and the back end. So it'll build like the full stack for the AI, right? And then what you want to do is just deploy it. Now, if you deploy an app, from what I've noticed, it doesn't deploy it on subdomain. It will actually deploy that SaaS product on like a temporary terminal. And then every time you want to preview it inside Manus, you have to ask it to redeploy, right? Like you can see right here. So it's redeploying that. As you can see, let's open this up. We'll just wait for that to load. So this is the example here. And then once that's finished deploying, you'll be able to open it up with a link that looks something like this, right? So it's hosted at manus.computer. Whereas if you build a website with Manus, it'll be hosted at manus.space. That's the difference. And so if you want to build your own SaaS tool, like you can build it, you can deploy it, you can test it, you can create it all using Manus directly inside here. And then I'm sure if you gave it the API details, you could also link it to Stripe as well. So if you set up a Stripe account, set it up for payments or PayPal, whatever, you could grab the APIs from that and then link it directly inside here. So that's how you can get started with it if you want to build your own SaaS business. And it's pretty simple and easy to do. I'll wait for this to load right here. So it's just loading up the port for SEO lead generation SaaS software. So here we go. Let's pop this open. So we've got the front end, like I was saying right here. And then if we go to the dashboard on the back end, you can see we've got this dashboard for the SaaS software right here. So you've got, for example, the dashboard, discover leads section, right? So you can search between leads for your SEO agency. You can manage leads. And then it has like some analytics and other company details here. And this is all like dummy data, but you get the point. And so that SaaS tool, literally one prompt, was just built, deployed, and it even has the SaaS software ready to go. And then if you really wanted to deploy it live on the internet, then, you could download the code and then get AI to edit it later and redeploy it on something like Netlify. Or what you can do is you can just give Manus your API details or a payment link and get it to link it that way to make sure that you can accept payments directly. And then, if you're building the SaaS tool, obviously this is not going to be 100% ready to go. So you want to like quality control it, quality test it before you actually do anything else. But yeah, wild stuff. So you can see how you can easily build and deploy SaaS tools using this as well. Are there any other free API to use with Open Manus? I think you could probably integrate something like Google Gemini inside Open Manus. I haven't tested that out, but I'm pretty sure you could. You would just make sure you set up the API correctly inside Open Manus to make sure that works correctly. If you want the SOP for that, go to the AI Profit Boardroom. Then from here, go to Classroom, SOPs. And then inside the SOP section here, you can go to Manus AI. We've got the full SOP for how to use Manus on the live website. If you don't have access, then you can set up Open Manus using the instructions right here. I spent an hour setting it up, but it's all inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want to get. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to all the SOPs from today, just go in the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. If you go to the SOP section, we have two different sections on Manus AI. We have an SOP for installing Open Manus locally, and also we have a step-by-step SOP for using this process along with a video tutorial. Now, if you want to go really in depth, we actually have this section here, which is an hour-long Q&A on Manus, how to use it, including some examples that are built live on the presentation. And this AI Profit Boardroom also comes with all our best workflows and courses on like NA10 agents. We have a full 3.5-hour course on DeepSeek. We have like many different templates you can just copy and steal from us on how to build AI agents. It also comes with a weekly Q&A course with me, so you can jump on and ask any questions that you have with us. Comes with a crash course, all of my best automation templates and training like you can see, and also a community of 376 members that you can ask for help and advice if you get stuck, like you can see in the community here. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month, and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot on this free link building acceleration session. You'll get a free custom tailored link building plan so you can generate more lead sales and profits from your website. You'll discover the secrets to SEO link building, answer any questions you have, you'll learn the best link building strategy for your website, plus how to outrank your competitors based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Manus AI is absolutely wild. It's the most autonomous, most powerful AI agent I've ever seen. I'm going to be showing you some examples of how we built, for example, like games, presentations, websites, directory sites, personal sites, even deployed this whole landing page with videos embedded and really nice designs directly in this video. Plus, I'll be answering all these questions, including how Manus could impact the world, because it's pretty scary stuff. For example, estimates from Goldman Sachs estimate that generative AI alone, including Manus, could displace 300 million full-time jobs globally, with advanced economies like the US, Germany, and Japan experiencing workforce disruption rates of 30 to 50%. But it's not all doom and gloom, because I'll be showing you how to adapt and get ahead of the curve based on what's working for me so far, and how you can actually use this to scale your business and save hundreds of hours instead of worrying about, okay, could it impact you negatively? Some people are asking, okay, if all admin work can be done by the Manus agent, what's left for people, right? The way that I see for people, right, in the future is that this is not a tool to replace people. It's a tool to essentially, what would I say? I would say it's a tool to empower people, right? So, for example, if I could get access to Manus for my whole team, then they're empowered to achieve much more and move much faster, right? That's the difference. So, for me, for example, if I could give my ops manager this tool, and then they can just go off and start using that for analyzing spreadsheets, for link building, or, for example, for analyzing our clients' content and giving them recommendations based on that, or even maybe even getting the WordPress login details for our websites, and then getting the AI agent to update and re-optimize some of my pages each day. That's how you empower your team. And the way that I see it is, we're not planning to get rid of anyone on our team. Like, we get the most attention, we test tools, we publish content every single day. Like, we have millions of people that we're helping with AI at this point. And even for us, I don't want to get rid of anyone on my team. Like, I want to keep all the humans in my team. But what I want to do is I want to make them 100 times smarter, right? So if you've got a team of 50 people and my competitor have a team of 50 people, and then our team is way more empowered and can move 100 times faster because of technology like this, then we can scale way faster. I don't think the point is to become defensive and to start shutting down things and then to try and trim all the humans that you have. I think it's a case of, like, how can you scale more with the team that you have, as long as you have the right people on the team? And really, it's about educating your team. Like, one of the reasons we actually created this community was not just to help other entrepreneurs and everything else inside the community, but was to actually train our team on how to use AI, right? So they watch back the trainings inside the classroom. They watch back the calls on the Q&A recordings weekly here. If they have any questions, if my team have any questions, like, they can jump on the weekly calls as well and ask any questions that they have. And so it's a really powerful way to not just learn how to use AI, but also to empower your team to move 100 times faster and almost become like superhuman when it comes to using AI. So that's the whole point for me. It's not about replacing humans or replacing admin work. It's about making sure that your team is more empowered and can work smarter. They should still be working hard, but they should work smarter as well. So someone was asking, can it create a fully iPhone-friendly website with 30 different features that no other website have? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to show you something interesting here. Actually, talking of iPhone, I saw someone try to replace the Apple Store using Manus.space. So let me pull this up. If you want to see some of the published creations from Manus, then you can type in site:/Manus.space, and you'll see a lot of different dummy sites that people have created with Manus right here. So, for example, we've got like an IBIT ETF dashboard, but let me show you this one right here, which is the Apple clone. Now, if we go into responsive mode right here, so this is previewing on a mobile. We'll switch to, for example, iPhone 14 Pro Max, so you can see what it's like. So you've got the responsive mode right here, and this is basically cloned Apple, like you can see. So someone has created like a clone of Apple with links to buy, etc., like you can see. And yeah, you can easily create iPhone-friendly websites. And then in terms of functionality, you can see all the sections right here. It's pretty crazy. So all these different categories, kind of like the Apple Store. But essentially, you can just ask the AI, like add some unique features that haven't been seen before, or that sort of thing. And some people are saying nobody seems to care about humans being replaced with these sort of AI agents. For me, I genuinely care. That's why I create these videos. For me, a few years ago when ChatGPT came out, I honestly thought, do I still have a business anymore? Do I genuinely have a business, or are we just going to get replaced by ChatGPT within 6 months? It's actually one of the reasons I switched from mainly SEO content to more AI focused content. Because I was like, I've got to learn this stuff and stay ahead of the pack. And that's really one of the things that I'd recommend for you as well, is stay ahead of the pack, learn as much as you can, because these tools are not designed to replace humans. They're designed to empower us, right? Now, having said that, if there are people on your team who are not providing value and are not thinking for themselves, that's a big issue. You got to set agreements now. You got to set standards now so they start learning this stuff before it's too late. But yeah, one of the reasons that I used to create content purely about link building, if you look back in the day, 5 years ago, whereas if you look now, like all of our top content is about AI. And the reason for that is I have to learn about this stuff and I have to share it to the world because I want humans to learn this stuff. I want people to understand this stuff before it's too late. Imagine the 99% of the population outside of the people watching this channel. Imagine the 99% of people who don't understand what's coming for them, who don't learn this technology. Like, how scary is that? For example, when the internet came out, there was a certain proportion of the general population who just got left behind in technology, right? They couldn't use laptops, they couldn't use the internet, etc. And I can see the same thing happening very quickly for AI too. There's going to be a certain population section who don't learn these tools, don't adapt, and get left behind. And as sad as that is, it's scary stuff, but that's why I'm creating this content, to help people and empower people along the way. Creative Chris says, what do you think about the security using it for sensitive info like APIs, etc.? Yeah, I would be very careful. If this is a Chinese software, check the privacy terms and conditions, just like DeepSeek. You got to be careful what information you plug into there. You got to be careful what you put in. I wouldn't recommend putting any client data in there. I wouldn't recommend putting any confidential information about you or your business or your figures that you wouldn't be comfortable sharing with the world, right? If you really want to be careful about security, be careful with that stuff. And then when it comes to worrying about, okay, maybe the API is used for something that's super expensive, or you get like an unexpected bill. On all of these API providers, for example, like ChatGPT, you can set up a daily limit usage, which means that you won't get overcharged, right? So if you're worried about getting like a crazy bill at the end of the month for all the APIs you're using, just set a limit. Mindspace says, what kind of GPU do you need to run AIs locally? It depends what you're using, right? So for example, if you want to use QWQ, the 32B version, I'm on a MacBook Pro M3, and this was super slow for me. It didn't really work for me at all. Whereas, for example, if I use some of the distilled models, that's what I'd recommend for you as well, is if you use some of the distilled models. So, for example, like there's a distilled version of DeepSeek R1. Those ones are way better, right? Because they're a lot faster, they're a lot lighter, but they still leverage the power of DeepSeek R1 and other reasoning tools like that. So that's what I'd recommend. Some people are asking, okay, is Manus like Windsurf or any other IDE with MCP servers just easier to get started? Yeah, the main thing I would say with stuff like Windsurf, for example, is it's still a bit more technical, right? So if we open up Windsurf, right, Windsurf, number one, again, like if a user who's not technical, has never seen code before, sees a layout like this, they're just not going to understand what they're doing, right? It's going to be too complicated for them. They're going to get freaked out with all this crazy code on the left-hand side. And for 99% of people, they're just not going to use something like this. Whereas if, for example, they go over to Manus and you've got a bunch of templates that you can use, you just have to give it a prompt, like ChatGPT, then that's what's going to work. The reason that people love ChatGPT so much is because it is so simple, right? And it's the same with Apple, right? The simplest solution wins. So, for example, if you have a choice and you're not techie at all, which one are you going to choose? This one or this one? Obviously this one. So that's the biggest difference here. And also Windsurf as well, it's really good. I do Windsurf, but when you look at Manus, it seems to be able to problem solve. So it seems a lot more autonomous and it can just go off and do stuff without you having to give it too much information. So yeah, the point is, like Health and Harmony says, the point is it's easier for a non-tech person to use. Most automation platforms, for example, like IDEs, like Windsurf, like Visual Studio Code, etc., it's just going to be so off-putting for most people to use. Whereas, for example, if you go onto Manus and you just like, boom, do that for me. Okay, create a game for me. Create a SaaS tool for me. It actually goes off and does it. Then that's the difference. Like, I don't know anything about code. I didn't have to look at any code files here. But I get a working demo of the game that we just built really quickly and easily, like you can see right here. So that's the biggest difference right here. A lot of people are talking about Devin, but I've never actually used Devin. Maybe I'll do a video comparison in the future, but I've never used Devin. Let's have a look at this. So Devin AI, let's see what we've got here. Oh, it doesn't seem to be loading up for me, to be honest. We'll come back to that later, maybe. Was asking me, like, what's the future of SEO? When you got these AI agents and everything else, one thing that I'd recommend is you watch the Neil Patel interview between me and Neil Patel. It's a great interview. It's on YouTube. You can just search Neil Patel. And we talk about whether AI is the end of SEO, right? And we both agree on one thing, which is with the power of AI, with the power of social media, for example, like some people don't even use Google anymore. They'll use, for example, like TikTok and other tools like that. With the power of these tools, AI isn't replacing SEO. It's increasing the reach of SEO. So like more people are searching for information than ever, more people are curious than ever, and also they get better answers than ever. When you're thinking about the future of SEO, I wouldn't think in just terms of Google. That's the biggest mistake that most people make. Instead, you want to be thinking, okay, in terms of the future, where are we going here? Number one, it's going to be more fragmented, right? So if we look at the old model and the old way is people just search on Google for information. That is the old way, right? The new way is it's a Google everywhere approach, a SEO everywhere approach. Things are more fragmented, and instead of just optimizing for Google, you're optimizing for every platform. For example, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google, Bing, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc., right? That's the biggest difference right here. So this is the new way. This is the future of SEO. And if you're not thinking about this now, definitely book in a call with us. Link in the comments and description. We have tons of information about this. And actually, if you join, there's a free trial for the SEO Elite Circle. Link in the comments and description as well. If you join this community, we have tons of training on AI and how it's changing. So we've got tons of AI SEO strategies. I get asked these sort of questions all the time on the weekly Q&A call recordings. And there's tons of great information there, including how to diversify your traffic and also how to do YouTube and other lead generation methods. So for example, if you're worried about, okay, are people still going to be using Google? We have loads of different other channels that we get traffic from that you could use as well. For example, for us, like we'll even optimize for school. We have 4,600 members in our free school group, the AI SEO Success Lab. And that's just another way to get traffic. And so instead of just optimizing for Google, which we still do, we'll also optimize for every other channel. Even, let me show you this. I'll show you some examples right here. So even on Medium, we'll try and rank there. So for example, like this month alone, bear in mind it's only the 11th of March. This month alone, we've already had 5,000 views on our articles. If we go over to LinkedIn, we have a newsletter here with 6,285 subscribers where we just create content about AI, right? And all the latest findings there. And then school as well. So the reason that we post on 11 platforms instead of just YouTube is because you have to focus on ranking on every single platform, not just one single one. That's the difference here. That's what we're going for. Creative Chris asks, Julian, is the open source of Manus any good? Does it work on par with the web version? So I actually have a training on this and an SOP inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So I'd recommend watching that, right? So inside here, if we go inside the SOP section, and then we scroll down to the Open Manus section right here, you actually see how we set up Open Manus locally and how we did that step by step. Now, when you're setting up Open Manus locally, one of the things I would say is you don't get the same UI, right? So it's not as nice. What you're going to see instead is a terminal that looks something like this. And it's still powerful. It can still go on the internet, etc. But the biggest difference here is like when you're doing this, it's just not going to look as nice. So it can still do similar outputs. And as well as that, it's not going to host the files on a subdomain for you. So Manus is obviously superior, right? Manus is a better tool, but it's not available for most people. So that's why I recommend using something like Open Manus whilst you're waiting for it. Starlight says, do you think by the start of 2026, will a super upgraded Manus, which is attached with a conversational AI mode, what do you think? Human labor, digital jobs will start to erode? I think the main thing you got to think about here, right? If you're considering, for example, using Manus, or if you're worried about like the future of humans and where we're going and everything else, let me run you through this report. This is pretty interesting right here. Right? So this is a report in terms of like how Manus is going to change the world and the biggest vulnerabilities. So McKinsey and company's analysis reveals that 26.7%, here we go, 26% of office jobs and 20% of customer service roles are at high risk of automation, with production work at 13%, right? The people who also face significant exposure are legal services. So these guys are in huge risk, right? It's all the sort of routine tasks. So like data entry, document reviews, scripted customer interactions, etc. These are all at the biggest risk. And so if you're worried about human labor being replaced, that's where you need to start looking. That's what you need to start thinking about. Whereas if, for example, like you are a leader, if you're great at running a team of people, if you're great at marketing, those sort of things, I think those tasks are actually going to become more and more in demand because now you can scale them 10 times further. And the value you can bring as like someone who's really good at AI is 100x what it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Also, Goldman Sachs did another job loss projections, and they were saying that generative AI alone could displace 300 million full-time jobs globally, with advanced economies like the US, Germany, and Japan experience workforce disruption rates of 30 to 50%. How wild is that? This is also exacerbated by the double displacement effect. So AI automates tasks within roles, but it simultaneously reduces the need for entry-level positions that serve as career pipelines, right? So for example, all those junior roles where programmers, and we all know this, like I haven't hired a coder since Bolt.new came out, right? These programmers are getting replaced. Front-end coders are getting wiped out. Gaming coders potentially could get wiped out as well because we've seen how powerful Manus is. So that's what we're looking at here. These are the biggest risks. Anything that can be automated probably will be automated. And Manus is super powerful now, but it's only the start. This is only going to get crazier. Let's have a look here. So wage dynamics and inequality. So automation has already suppressed wages by up to 70% since 1980. AI's expansion into knowledge work threatens to amplify this trend. So for example, the marketing industry, 37% of firms use generative AI for content creation. Myself included, we don't really hire human writers anymore. The copywriters that we do have use AI to help them. So yeah, it's pretty wild right there. It's saying that 81% of digital marketers believe AI will erode job opportunities for content writers, which is 100% true. Again, we don't hire content writers anymore. We just use AI to automate it instead. And then we come on to stuff like universal basic income, which is pretty scary stuff. And then you've also got like the ethical and societal risks of this as well. This is really scary stuff. We don't know where we're going, what's going to happen next, but that's why you got to learn this stuff now, right? Empower yourself rather than getting left behind. That's the main thing that we've got to learn here. Tarek says, how do you upgrade your knowledge and learn new things? How do you manage such an amount of time? The way that we do this, we've actually got a crash course inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you go to the classroom and then scroll to the SAP section here, we have all these systems. Basically, if you start here, this is the key. Start at this point here, and then you'll figure out exactly what you can automate, how you can automate it. The way that I look at it is it's the 80-20 rule, right? So look at where you're spending your time, automate that. And once you've done that and you've saved that time, look at where you spend your time the next month, automate that again. And just rinse and repeat that over and over again. The way that I look at it is it's a positive feedback loop. So if we come back to the whiteboard here, you really want to look at either delegating, eliminating, or automating, right? And so it's a positive feedback loop because, for example, you track your time and that helps you automate. And then once you've automated, you track your time again, and that's going to help you automate the next thing. And this just goes round and round and round. And in the end, using stuff like the AI Profit Boardroom, you're saving hundreds of hours. Now, if your time is worth as a CEO, minimum $100 per hour, if you're a serious entrepreneur, then even if you save 1 hour, that role was 100% worth it. And if you, let's be honest, if you automate, for example, Twitter or content creation, if you automate, for example, like drafting emails, and you save yourself time that way, then you're probably saving yourself at least 30 minutes a day, either by you or your team. And so that's the biggest difference here. FL says, what is actually your business? Do you teach how to use LLMs or AI agents? So yeah, we have the AI Profit Boardroom that teaches you how to implement all of the systems that I use to scale my business, like you can see. And then additionally, we also have an SEO agency, right? And the reason that we started the AI Profit Boardroom is because so many people in our audience, especially our clients, were asking for something like that. And so we were like, okay, I didn't want to create it. That's why I only created it last month. But I've been blown away. We've got, 376 members in here. We've got an SEO agency. That's our main business, right? Help hundreds of clients get more leads, traffic, sales with SEO. And then that demographic also is really interested in AI. So we have the AI Profit Boardroom. And then additionally, we also do offer AI automation services using the AI time machine method, right? So this is an AI automation service that you can book in. You can book in a free AI strategy session on this page, link in the comments description. And then from there, you can just hire us to build out AI automations for you. It will cost you $1,500 per month minimum. But basically, if you save 100 hours per month with AI automation, then you've already got back in time. So those are the things really, they all link together, right? They're all very similar. So that is pretty much it. I think we've handled every question someone could ask about Manus and that sort of thing. We've been live streaming for an hour. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. If you want a free SEO strategy session, 1-to-1, that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to get that on this free link building acceleration session. You'll get a free SEO domination plan. You'll discover the secrets of SEO link building. We'll answer any questions you have, and you'll learn the best link building strategies for your website, along with being able to ask any questions you have on the course. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. And if you want to join the AI Profit Boardroom, prices are literally about to go up. We've got a few hours left, I think, before that'll go up. So make sure you sign up now and lock in your legacy price before you miss out. Comes with all of my best trainings on AI agents and workflows, web automation, email and content automation, social media, Q&A call recordings, SOPs, crash course, etc. And inside the community as well, you can ask 376 other business owners any help or advice you need. So for example, someone was asking about open source Manus this morning. I actually gave them a bunch of help. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to get that link in the comments description. If you do want AI automation services as well, we also do that. Link in the comments description. All right. Appreciate everyone watching this. See you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.